Rachel steals her father's household gods. Hi, I'm Ronald, and I'm discussing the book of Genesis, continuing from chapter 30. Now, Jacob and Laban tried to act like they're making a deal for Jacob to stay and keep tending his flocks, but they're both still up to their old tricks, not to mention some weird livestock breeding techniques that Jacob borrows from local magicians. Now, despite his sin, God made him animal rich, which was rare at the time. But the problem is that God doesn't want him to stay there. He wants Jacob back in the land that he promised to give him. Now, Jacob is eventually prompted in that decision by some rumors among Laban's sons and the disrespect of Laban and a command from God. Now, it's been 20 years since Jacob left Canaan after the trick he pulled on his dad. Now he packs up his wives and his kids and heads toward Canaan, the land that God promised him through his father Isaac and his grandfather Abraham. But on the way out, Rachel steals some of Laban's household gods, 31:19, which is most likely a reference to idols of some sort, and it's just more evidence for us that Laban does not worship Yahweh. Now we don't know why Rachel steals these gods. Teraphim. These were idols or images referenced by the ancient Hebrews and the kindred peoples, apparently as household gods. Now, perhaps she worshipped these idols and did not want them to be without them, or perhaps she didn't want her father to inquire of them to use them as a tool of divination to catch them, as he may have done previously in Genesis 30:27. Or perhaps it was because such idols were often used as a deed to property, and she thought by taking the idols, she took whatever inheritance might be left to Laban's children. Or, lastly, perhaps she stole them to get back at her father, whom she felt had mistreated her, her husband, and her whole family for that matter. Either way, Laban discovers 3 days later that they have left, so he pursues them. And on his way, God appears to him in a dream and warns him to keep his mouth shut. Don't say anything, good or bad. When he finally catches up with them, he acts all nice at first, but then he cuts to the chase, pointing out that his household gods are missing, thus beginning the search for the household gods, which Rachel hid under her camel's saddle and a ruse about her period. Laban doesn't find the idols, and beginning in verse 43, he agreed to make a covenant with each other. They set up pillars to mark the occasion, and Laban heads back to his home. Now, after a proper goodbye, Laban saw his daughters and grandchildren for the last time. Jacob took his family to Canaan and never returned to Laban's home. And this is the last we hear of Laban in the Bible. And it is good that this is the end of him, because Laban is of the world, and Jacob needed to be free from this world to live wholeheartedly for the God of his fathers. So rather than seeking to follow the truth of God's plan, as witnessed by Jacob, Laban merely resented and coveted the blessing of God on Jacob. He finally ended up with neither. His life constitutes a sober warning to a great deal of semi-religious or fundamentally self-worshipping and self-seeking men and women today. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time.